Please give a rousing round of applause for Jessica Regan. On today's video, we'll find out how this storyteller used flirty girl fitness to face her fears on a cruise ship.
And there was like a chair dance exercise, and there were, exercises you could do with this pole. And of course I had ordered the pole because it went with the kit.
Hey guys, it's Adam here from Madison Story Slam. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell here on YouTube, you can also go to madisonstoryslam.com just madisonstoryslam.com, find the podcast, and then you can go to patreon.com/madisonstoryslam to play a bigger part in what we do here on Madison Story Slam. On today's video, we've got Jessica Regan telling a great story about being on her honeymoon. It's a honeymoon cruise. She thinks she's signing up for a contest where she's going to show off her muscles, and it ends up being something a little different. It's pretty good, and it was also the winner of the winning story of our evening at Madison Story Slam. So without further ado, here's Jessica.
So 10 years ago, my husband and I took a Mediterranean cruise to celebrate our honeymoon. We did 10 days along Italy, France, and Spain. And so this story takes place somewhere in the Mediterranean. And while we were on that cruise, which are great, by the way, we discovered that if you want a very easy way to travel, maybe not in the most authentic way, but you can really have your entertainment covered and your food covered and your transportation covered and unpack for the week and still be able to experience lots of different places, a cruise was a very easy way to travel for a honeymoon. And while we were on there, we wanted to take advantage of some of these entertainment options. There was like a newlywed sort of game show option one night that we were really jazzed to sign up for, because there was an option for newlyweds and then folks who'd been married for 5 or 10 years and then folks who'd been married for like 20 to 50 years to all be part of this game show, and it seemed like it was right up our alley. But when we went to the room where that was scheduled to take place, we got there very early expecting to sign up. Turns out we went to the Italian language version instead of the English language version, so we missed out on the newlywed game show. The next day we were on the pool deck in the afternoon, and they had some more games coming up, and we're like, well, let's take a look at these. So there was the men's belly flop competition, which was exactly what you would imagine it to be. Like 10 guys signed up, and they all did belly flaps into the pool on the pool deck and had their stuff judged, and it was like predictable. And then there was a Miss Biceps competition. And for me, I was like, newlywed, I was like, well, it'd be Mrs. Biceps for me, but whatever, I'll sign up anyway. Because as I was looking around the pool deck, I was like, there's no competition here. And I've shared before that I grew up a Wisconsin farm girl. Like, I've been lifting things my whole life, pushing wheelbarrows and throwing hay bales and all of those things, and I still maintained some of those pipes even into my early 20s. So I was thinking about signing up for this Miss Biceps competition. And my husband was, I wouldn't say peer pressuring me, but I'd say lovingly encouraging me to yeah, I should go for it. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. And I saw a few of the women start to sign up, and I was, checking them out. I was like, yeah, there's this. I'm not a competitive person either, by the way, I feel like I should add. But in this situation, it was like, this is no contest. Of course, I'm going to sign up for this Miss Biceps. So I did. And I went down, and they were starting to give the instructions. The cruise tour guide that was leading this program also happened to be from Wisconsin, and so I really liked her a lot, and I was glad that she was leading this event. And she was doing the demo, and it was probably set to Eye of the Tiger, or We're the Champions, or some song like that. And it was like, all right, ladies, here's what you're going to do. You're going to have 30 seconds to be flexing your muscles, and then they were going to have this team of judges who had volunteered from the crowd to be judging you on your biceps. And the team of judges I was observing was a group of guys that had come to the pool deck with a large group of the women who had also signed up for this Miss Biceps competition, which is like, all right, I see what's happening here, but whatever. And so she had given this demo, and the competition was about to begin. And the music that came on when the first of the women in a group of 10 of us were starting to show off their biceps was really different than this like pump-up music. It was very sexy music that they were starting to play. And as the first woman went, I noticed like they were showing off everything except for their biceps. And I started to get really uncomfortable because I was in this row of 10 very beautiful Italian women in their bikinis from the pool deck, and I was starting to realize what was happening here, that we weren't in a competition of like brute strength. Because if we had been, again, no contest, clear winner. And I started to panic a little bit because this is not what I had signed up for. But what was I going to do? I couldn't just like back away from this line of people that were waiting to show off their biceps. So a few more of the women went, and I was noticing this pattern of like, okay, so this is how we're dancing, right? Okay. And not the type of thing I would have signed up for ever, but again, here we were. So I felt like I had to just do it and make the best of it. So I started to think back into my training of like sexy dance moves, which I have very little of. I'm not a dancer. I'm very much not a sexy dancer, and I'm very much not a sexy dancer on stage in front of crowds of people. But I thought back to a DVD that I had purchased a while back from Flirty Girl Fitness, which was a way of making fitness perhaps more fun. And there was like a chair dance exercise, and there were, exercises you could do with this pole. And of course I had ordered the pole because it went with the kit. And I got this package in the mail with this DVD and then also this pole, and realized like we're in an apartment. We can't go drilling holes in the floor and the ceiling to install an exercise pole. And so I promptly took that back to the post office, and this big long cardboard box that said Flirty Girl Fitness Exercise Pole was something I was so embarrassed to have to explain why I was trying to mail and return. But there were a couple moves that I had seen on that DVD that I was like, yeah, I could give that a try, because I couldn't just repeat what the ladies in front of me were doing. That would be a little bit too uncomfortable. And so for the next 30 seconds, when it was my turn, I did the clumsiest, most uncomfortable, most embarrassing bicep competition. My husband was videotaping the whole damn thing. And he could sense my discomfort, I'm sure, and shouted from behind the video camera, "Way to go, honey!" But even as we had it like each introduced ourselves and where you're from, I shouted into this microphone, "I'm Jessica from the USA." And even then I was like, oh God, I don't like how that sounded. Like I was cringing of just being in this entire situation with this line of beautiful girls dancing on stage essentially for their husbands or partners who were the judges. And so again, one of the most uncomfortable, embarrassing moments of my life. I could have left it in the Mediterranean, but I chose to bring it back and share this with you all today. And since you seem like a very polite crowd and one that's about to clap when I'm finishing my story, because I can think of no other way to end this, I would like to show off what I believe to be the best biceps in the Mediterranean that day. Thank you.
That was pretty good. Thanks, Jessica. I don't know about the best bicep, but man, I was not expecting that story. That was really good. I watched a lot of Sweatin' to the Oldies myself growing up. Didn't come with a pole, though.